Hi, it's Quin with Whitney Morgan again, talking about some weird movies. And today we're going to talk about, let's see if you can actually see it.
Right
There it is. Yeah, okay. We're going to talk about the movie Quid Pro Quo, which came out in 2008. And it stars Nick Stahl and Vera Farmiga. I think I got it right.
You did a better job than I would have, so therefore.
So I've known about this movie for a while. I just didn't watch it.
Didn't have the time.
And I wanted to share it with Whitney because I figured we could talk about it because it was very strange. It was a very strange movie. Let's see.
I kind of wonder if that was a little bit before its time now, with everybody in it thinking that they wanted to be something that they weren't born as.
Yeah. Okay, so it stars Nick Stahl as a paralyzed man, and he's wheelchair bound, and it happened because he was in an accident when he was a little kid. It was a car accident, and it killed his parents, and so, he's living his life, and he's a reporter, but also like a radio show kind of thing. Like he tells stories on the radio, or I guess like a podcast situation kind of thing. I mean, it's 2008.
Do they have podcasts? Do they have podcasts?
That's what it made me think of. Okay, like the microphone.
The whole thing is kind of before its time.
Yeah. So
maybe it's good we watched it in 2021 now?
Yeah. So he finds out about a story about a guy who bribed a doctor to remove his perfectly healthy leg so he could be disabled or whatever. And he's like, oh, that must be like some kind of urban legend or something, but the stories like that keep kind of popping up and
more
finding
people.
him. Yeah. And he gets this weird email that says, oh, there's others that are like this, and it had an address. So he goes to the address and he finds a bunch of people that are in wheelchairs that obviously
wannabes.
Don't need them. Yeah, and they call themselves wannabes, and they realize, they see him there, and, he's not really freaked out or anything, he's not mad or whatever, he's just kind of like, what?
Curiosity.
Yeah, and they're just they find him so fascinating and think he's so perfect, and he's just so why would you want to be paralyzed if you're not? And I feel like they wanted to say, but they were real nervous, they didn't want to offend him, but at the same time he was like, look, I'm doing a story about this, and they all immediately just stand up out of their wheelchairs, take their wheelchairs, pick them up and leave, and he's just like, what?
Because their level, there's the wannabes that want to be paralyzed, that want to be in that universe, and then there's actually the pretenders that actually go out into public and pretend to be paralyzed.
Okay, so that's what the differences were.
Yeah.
Okay, so he meets the woman played by Vera Farmiga, and she looks adorable in this movie, by the way. I've had a crush on her for a while, but I
like the blonde.
Yeah, she's so cute as a blonde. I liked her a lot better in this movie than in the recent Conjuring movie, which was just not that great. In fairness, it's not their fault. It's a different director. But anyways, she's adorable.
That's another movie review.
Yeah, sure. But so she's in this, and she's the person that had sent him an email in the first place. So she reveals herself, and her they meet in the park, right? Is that when they first meet each other?
Yeah.
They meet in a park, and or they meet for lunch or something, and she's immediately just so interested in his wheelchair. And her body language was really strange. I wasn't sure.
Somebody meeting their crush for the first time, where they're just, they can't sit still. They're super twitchy, super antsy, and just bursting with joy, but don't want to become.
Yeah, she didn't want to be too weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was awkward. But then, he was like, I want to know, because she is obviously interested, but they're not really explaining why. She's like, oh, this is for my friend, kind of thing. So you're like, okay. Does she actually have a friend that has this, desire? Spoilers, yeah.
She does not.
She does not have it. The friend is her.
But her alter ego, perhaps.
But, so she tells him that she will tell him things if he tells her things. So,
Quid pro quo.
Yeah. And so she wants to know about his life and how he got paralyzed, and so he tells a story that there was a teenager that hit his family in a car, and it killed his parents and it injured him. So immediately she kind of changes, her
demeanor.
Yeah, it definitely changes a bit. And I, like, kind of as a joke, just was like, oh, maybe she was the girl that did it. And I was just like, I mean, you know, maybe, because I'm trying to figure out movies. So they go to her apartment, and she reveals that she is one of those people that likes to pretend that she's
paraplegic.
Yeah, and she comes out with, like, what was that?
There was a vintage body brace with leg braces.
Yeah, and it was very...
It was pretty hot, actually.
It was kind of, like, I was like, oh, man,
I get the appeal from a fetishistic point where people covet.
You would find it aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
And because she came in and she was in a cane, and then, but she had, like, yeah, it was, like, really...
Like an old school body, like, bodice.
Yeah, and then, like, the little straps that would be, like, for the brace, and, you know, she just kind of walked in, and she was, like, embarrassed, but then she's, like, looks at him, and she's like, are you offended? And he's just like, you know, I want to know why, and I thought that was just kind of neat, like, because they really could have taken it to, like, oh, how dare you, but it's just like, no, like, you're clearly, something's really brewing in you and hurting, so I kind of want to know why this is. But, so she immediately feels, like, so strongly towards him because obviously revealing this type of thing, which I would totally call it a fetish, because they make it sexual, but it's also not overly, like, it's not the only thing it's about. Like, you feel like there's something else to it, and you can't quite, I don't know, it raised a lot of questions.
Emotional.
Yeah. And so, you know, she tries to be intimate with him, and he's just like, oh no, I can't. And then she immediately starts asking him really technical questions, like if he can't because of his being paralyzed, and he's just like, no, like, there's somebody else.
I feel like that is a lot of people's curiosity, though, is once you lose your mobility from the waist down, like, at what point? Like, it's interesting to hear, like, what actual vertebrae on your body that you have to get hit or have damaged in order to lose the ability to perform.
Yeah, like because the whole story, the whole movie is like him and his inner monologue and kind of thing. So like you know that's not really an issue for him anyway. But so yeah, what happens after that?
She asks him to leave.
Yeah, she gets him to leave because he doesn't want to do it.
His heart's with another whom is also paralyzed. Another girl who's also paralyzed.
Yeah, because and this is the first time in the movie that they've even mentioned her. Like, and we're like, oh, is he lying? What's it? No, it really is. He was apparently dating somebody who was also in a wheelchair, and she didn't, you know, just didn't want them both to have problems. Or in reality, I think it was just that she wanted to date somebody that could walk and was trying to be nice. So they have an awkward run-in with her.
Sure enough, she's with a dude with legs.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking, like, his big lift truck was just made me kind of laugh a little bit. Like, you're just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, she's a guy with a big truck. All right.
Compensating.
Anyway, yeah. It's just what I felt like. So, she tells him that she wants to, like, come out about doing this. Like, she wants to have her use her chair. She's not going to wear those, like, cute leg braces or whatever, you know, that she wore in the house. She's not going to wear those out and about, so she wants to start using her wheelchair all the time, like 24/7. She said she's so excited. She wants to come out about it, and we're just both like, maybe don't.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that. And so she does, but she gets like a little thrilled by all the people staring at her, and then she's just like asking him, she's like, is this me, or is it always like this? And she's like, oh, it took forever to get a cab, and he's just like, welcome to hell. And but at no point does he seem to get real mad at her, though. Like, he's just like, yeah, she's...
I think his background in journalism and the radio and writing and everything is probably sparking his curiosity more so as to why she's psychologically like this versus right off the bat offended.
Yeah.
And in everyday life, it is quite an offensive thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, just, you know, in that one separate thing. So this is kind of the part where the movie a little bit disappointed me, just because I was kind of hoping it would be getting to meet more people like that. But then it just kind of becomes about the two of them, which is also fine. But this fascinating subject, troublesome subject, is just so interesting. But, you know, it was 2008, so maybe they just weren't ready.
They weren't ready.
So you do end up finding out, oh, I'm about to forget about the magic shoes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little side plot where he really wants these, like, cool looking shoes and he makes a
Vintage
comment to
wingtips.
himself, like, why would he want those when he doesn't need them? But they just looked so good. So he gets them, and, like...
In theory, if you aren't actually scuffing them up and wearing them, wouldn't you want nice shoes? Because you're not ruining them.
Yeah, sure, that's true. So the shoes, I don't remember, is there a part that I missed? Because I know he said that he had sensation in his legs. Like, they weren't completely, maybe I missed something.
He said he'd always had hope that he would walk again, that he would go to the gym and physical therapy, and he had feeling in his legs, so they weren't completely numb, but it was more pins and needles sensations.
Yeah, and so he gets the shoes, and then he's, like, able to move a little bit. Like, he's able to like, kind of clumsily walk, and he ends up walking around with a cane, and she kind of freaks out a little bit. And it didn't go to a level where I thought it was. I didn't think I thought she was gonna immediately break up with him or whatever. But like she didn't. She's kind of like freaked out. And like it's just a weird thing. It's like they just chalk it up to like, oh, it's some little miracle. Like that's cool. He can't move around if he doesn't have the shoes on, which just kind of seems like it should be a part of another movie. But it is what it is. I feel like
it's a mind over matter thing. It's like a sugar pill effect on him.
Yeah, and like they're able to be intimate with a bit more
enthusiasm.
Yes, and so good for them. But what ends up happening is because she wants to like come out about this and her wanting to be in the wheelchair, and she has obviously a lot of baggage with her mom, and then you find out.
And she is begging and pleading with him that he has to be the one to help her become a paraplegic. That he has to be the one to disable her I know they broke down what exact vertebrae would need to be ruptured on there, and she was just desperately wanted him to be the one to do it.
Yeah, and he's just like, no, like I can't do this. Like he's like, I mean, if you want to fuck up your body, then fine. He's like, but I don't want to be a part of it. And but then like they're still trying to make it work, I guess. And then like you find out that she was the teenager that killed his parents, and which makes sense. Like I don't know, I might need to watch it a second time, because like knowing that for sure instead of it just being like my silly little joke that I made at the beginning of the movie, it brings
everything together.
It does, and like we're talking about it, and I feel like it
explains why she sought him particularly out.
Yeah, and like why, and she definitely like fetishized him and put him up on a pedestal, and it explains a lot of her weird behavior.
Why she told him he needs to be the one to paralyze her.
Yeah, because of the guilt. And then she just leaves, and it's like kind of just the end. Like he tries to find her, and he visits like places where they spent time together, but he like never sees her again. And I was just like, it was such a strange,
just up and
strange
out of
movie.
nowhere. Yeah.
And like I kind of liked that little comment of like, oh, she crashed into my life twice, and I was just like, oh yeah, okay, that was a bit on the nose, but whatever. So that's kind of cute. So yeah, this is a really weird movie, but I thought the two of them together were adorable. They had decent, super awkward chemistry considering the subject matter of what they needed to act. Also, Nick Stahl, the only other thing I've seen him in is in Carnival. He plays the main guy. He plays Ben. So, yeah, there was a lot of random people, and obviously random, well, like character actors, I get. You know what I'm trying to say. Like,
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. But, yay, I'm glad we got to watch a movie together again.
I dig it.
Last summer, I just told you about movies in the car. This summer.
Yeah, but that's the Cliff Notes. I enjoy the Cliff Notes. I'm like, this is one I definitely would check out later on.
Yeah, I think if I had tried to tell you about this one,
I would have been too confusing.
Yeah, I would have been like, what? So
she wants to what?
We got to watch this together. So, I if it sounds interesting to you, I do recommend maybe checking it out and seeing it for yourself. If it sounds terrible and you want to like rage in the comments, then okay, that's fine too, I guess. But I didn't make the movie, so I just watched it with my friend. All right. If there's something you want to see us talk about in the future, or
some movies y'all recommend, maybe.
Or have me explain more movies to her in the car,
Cliff Notes,
then let me know. Put them in the comments, and I'll see you eventually another time. Bye.